Good evening, Dair and Kaylee. Here's your sewer scope video from today's inspection. That's me in that basement area. That's in that base cabinet, and there's a wall clean out right there. There's another clean out right on the other side of that wall in that half bathroom down in the basement. I didn't realize that until well after the fact. Might have been easier to get at that one, but what are you going to do? I was successful. A little bit of a slow start here. There's a sharp turn initially, so it's going to take me a little while to get the camera head oriented in the right direction, and then because it's an awkward position underneath that cabinet, yeah, it's going to take me a little bit to get going, and then working around again. Sharp turns and corners make it somewhat difficult, but eventually I'll get going. Hang in there with me. I'm just trying to at this point I'm trying to get myself into a better position and move the camera assembly in a spot where I can get the most leverage. A little bit challenging because in that cabinet the shelf was affixed. It was not removable. That would have made things a little bit easier, but again, eventually we get going here without too much fuss. Black plastic pipe, ABS, very typical for when the house was built. There's three different materials of pipe that we're going to run across. All are common. The last one, that's just a little bit of gunk right there. The last one is the newer version. At that point, we're probably well under either the cul-de-sac street would be my guess. We probably wouldn't have made it out to the main road, but connecting out into the cul-de-sac probably at that point. I had kind of mentioned that, you know, in some pipes, especially in a cul-de-sac, you've got a lot of twists and turns. You're routing around other people's pipes and mechanicals and things like that. So makes for kind of a somewhat physical push through the pipe. Coming right up at 50 feet, that's a change over to PVC, polyvinyl chloride pipe. It's white PVC. You see it all the time inside houses. It works just as well outside for a sewer line. One big takeaway is that there's no damage, no defects that I can see in the pipe. Everything is good. Up ahead we'll hold a little bit of water, or we are holding a little bit of water, but you'll also notice on the return journey as I'm pulling back, most of that water had dissipated at that point. There may have been some toilet paper or something like that hung up in the pipe, but eventually it gets cleared out. Yeah, it could possibly be a low spot in the pipe. It's not uncommon for a plastic pipe to sag a little bit. Typically the lengths of pipe are 10 feet. So if you're connecting two pieces of pipe together, right, so the center point of those two pipes, if that sagged, I mean, you've got 20 feet of length at that point, it's not uncommon for it to sag. Another transition, 104 feet roughly, that's SDR. That's the newer stuff. Good. Somewhat same category. It's a plastic pipe. It is good stuff. Again, it's what all the new pipes are in new construction homes and developments. I think at this point what I'm doing is I'm turning on some water because I had a tough time getting past this bend. Sometimes when you turn on some water, it makes it a little bit easier to push the cable and the camera head through the pipe. So eventually you'll see some water rushing past the lens, and we'll get going again. I'll get out 160 feet, 162 feet before I just can't push the cable anymore. Combination of the weight of the cable and the camera head, all of the twists and turns, and the overall length of the pipe just wasn't possible for me to get any further along. I had about another 10 to 13 feet of cable that I could have used, but again, it just wasn't going anywhere. I just couldn't get it moving any further. I stood up and have turned the water off at this point. We'll push past this. This is that low spot that I was talking about, or slight buildup because of paper backup or buildup. But again, it's gone once I push past this. And you'll see that on the return journey. The other benefit of running some water during the filming of this is that you can see that there's good drainage and good flow. There's nothing backing up from further ahead. Just about another 10 feet and I will call it quits. And this is pretty much the full extent, 163 and a half feet. That's all we're going to do. At this point, everything looked good. No big concerns. I'm going to keep the camera rolling as I pull back. You're more than welcome to watch the return journey. Reach out to me if you have any questions. I'm always happy to be a resource if I can.